come back. Oh, he's out, he's out!
Oh my God! What an incredible shot from Josh Carrick!
Rather than shooting.
Oh! He didn't need it!
Oh, he's showboating him. He's talking to him.
Oh!
Listen, we'll bring a big squad from Liverpool, won't we?
Lifting him up, Rutherford showing great balance once more.
Oh, he dropped him! He's out, he's out!
FCC Bantamweight Champion, Marlon Jones!
Well, I mean, you couldn't have stacked the odds against him in this fight anymore.
Welcome everybody, post-fight here, post-show at FCC 43 here, still packing down the Olympia in Liverpool, become a bit of a home ground for FCC here tonight, certainly with a ton of hometown fighters as well, especially in the main event, Jason. Marlon Jones is back here in Liverpool, this time to try and lay his hands on a title, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, sometimes we've seen Marlon Jones not as happy with his performances, but on this one, he should be extremely happy with it. I know why he's not going to be happy with it, because it was tough. It was a difficult thing. He's going to have to deal with some of the things like whatever's gone on with his eye, that sort of thing. His leg buckled at one point. There's some issues there with potential injuries, but in reality, he overcame so much adversity that it almost makes it more impressive than if he just finished him so super easily. First takedown attempt, started raining down elbows. What it showed is that he has the heart on top of the ability and the technicality, and he can weather a storm, because man, did he get dealt. With that eye poke alone, that could have been enough. At one point I was like, this might not continue. So very impressive. And he is now your new bantamweight champion. He has officially been crowned.
Yeah, man, he's been wanting an FCC title for a long time. He's finally got one. Congratulations to Mr. Jones. Like you said, man, it was a lot. It was like 4 fouls, multiple eye pokes. I thought he was going to call it DQ at one point. I was like, if he keeps poking him in the eye, that's fighter safety. But you know, it seemed like his opponent, Alexio, was quite apologetic about it. Marlon even got, you know, that knee kind of gave way, and I believe he did have surgery on that knee as well. So hopefully he's all good. Either way, like you said, guts out an amazing performance, and it's the new champion. He's got plenty of time. Doesn't have to come back in November. He can take Christmas and come back in the new year. So congratulations to Marlon Jones, our new bantamweight champion. I will say, the co-main event I found equally entertaining, Jason. What a great fight. You mentioned that it was a hard fight for Marlon. It was a hard fight as well for Conor Walsh in the co-main event. But that's where these guys are getting to. They get into that 4-5-0 period. Like, you're gonna get these tough fights, and you can tell after them they're a little down on themselves. It's like, lads, you just fought a really tough guy. Top 10 in Brazil, number 6. Like, do you know how big Brazil is? Do you know how many lads are in there? I know you feel like you're amazing, right? But like, there's millions of people in Brazil, bro, and you just beat the number 6 guy. So he should be really pleased with that. I think he was as well. But great fight there in the co-main event between Conor Walsh and Bernardo. Back and forth. Conor had to just use the wrestling. He couldn't really land the big right hand that he lands on everybody. And I even spoke to Bernardo afterwards about his left leg. It was a real weapon, and he seems in good spirits about, you know, even the loss, because he did fight very well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that first round, he really made Conor have to think about what he would employ in terms of his game plan on the feet. He was really difficult to deal with. He was absolutely a handful, but every fighter has to go through this. And again, very similar to the main event. You made some comparisons there. I certainly make the comparison that he had adversity that he had to go through as well. Well, not as crazy, not as arduous. He thought it was a bad performance, but what you saw in the second and third rounds is that he was able to overcome that really well. He took over that fight, and he didn't let Bernardo back into it. Once he started getting on the offensive foot, all Bernardo could think about was defense. He didn't even have time to think about his offensive game plan. Even when they restarted in the third round, all he was thinking, there were no kicks, there were no head kicks being thrown, no leg kicks, no body kicks. It was all about, how do I keep this guy off me, because what just happened in that second round cannot happen. And so as a result, Conor let him play into that and took him down and took control. So if that's an off night, I said it on commentary, I'll say it again now, if that's an off night for Conor Walsh, wow, is that impressive. He should be very happy with that, and so should his team. Curtis at the Contender Series, getting ready for that in Vegas. The PI and Jay and, of course, Kyle and Laz were there for him tonight. So incredible performance, worthy of a title shot next.
I mean, I think in a way that's what sets FCC apart as well, is that, you know, these guys are getting hard fights. You know, like, and as they're getting further in their career, the fights are getting tougher, which they should do as well, and I think you're right about that. The performances were great. Let's talk about the People's main event that happened before that as well. Scotland versus England. Jordan Rutherford versus Jamie Davies, a fight between two undefeated pros. Jamie Davies had never lost in MMA, never lost in boxing. He came out full of beans, ready to take it to him. Some great takedown offense. Jordan, I thought, did a great job defending the takedowns. Jamie was relentless, though. You saw him chase that second takedown opportunity, and that's when we saw the finish come from Rutherford, who was so confident in himself. He's got so many tools, that Rutherford, man. He's really hard to avoid, and the danger zone is like apparent wherever you are. You're not even safe when you've got him against the cage. You're trying to take him down. He can still knock you out. Like so.
Yeah. Sometimes he almost reminds me of like Cowboy Cerrone in his prime, because it's almost like a party atmosphere that he brings. He's just having a great time out there. But a key difference is the pressure is something, it's almost like he eats that. This was such a scary fight for him at this level, such a big test. And, you know, Jamie was saying all the right things that make sense from his vantage point. Somebody who had been training since he was 18 years old, like you said, undefeated in all these different combat sports, somebody who served in the military. The crazy thing that I cannot get over, he said it to us in the interview that when we had him on Media Day, Jordan Rutherford started at age 28, period. No combat sports prior experience. This is what he has done. And you want to talk about making up for lost time. You want to talk about the strength of schedule and the speed that he's done everything in. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Like, you know, people talk about the age. I don't think the age is going to be a factor here. If it is, I think that's insane. Because if this guy's putting on these kind of level performances, how many stars do we currently have out of Scotland? This guy is a star already. What he does, the way he finishes people, it's in what should be their advantageous position. Yeah. We saw it with Mehdi Karai in the last fight, the elbows on the bottom. It made him question, what am I even doing taking this guy down? Because when I do, I'm only getting punished for it. And the moment he thought he'd be safe, maybe on the feet, the knockout blow comes out of nowhere. The exact same thing happened here with a takedown attempt on a double leg. And my God, what a compelling, captivating knockout that he got there with that knee against the cage. Jordan is the real deal. I don't think he'll be here very long. As sad as I am to say that, I'm so excited in the same way that I am for Curtis, the same way I was for Chanel Dyer and Uchebu and all the rest. It might actually be my performance of the night, just because of the level of competition that was up against. And let me make a quick distinction. That is not the official. It's Paragon, right, who's doing the 1,000 pounds extra bonus. They will make their own decision. That's my vote. We'll see what they have to say. Stay tuned to our social medias for the official announcement on who gets that.
I give it to Marlon Jones even. Like, so many people had it. But like you say, before that, Summer Only was back, looking to add to her finishing streak. Wasn't able to tonight, but she still got the win. And it was, again, another really tough fight. But these guys are getting the tests that they really need in their careers as well. You got to give a shout out to Pitbull, Annie. Annie came over. She's 20 years old. She fought like an animal. She didn't quit. Was on the back foot. She was clearly injured and compromised, I think, in one of her legs as well. But Summer, I thought the execution of their game plan from Summer was absolutely spotless. Like, she looked like Joe Silk Cummings in there. It's just like everything was perfect, snappy. She had, like, this is my offensive sequence. She started to pick it up later in the fight. It would be nice if she could have picked it up earlier, but she was against a really tough girl.
Yeah, and she deserves a lot of adulation for what she did tonight. She took on a very dangerous, hungry opponent who was just going to come forward and try to put the pressure on her, and she took her completely out of her game. There was no moment in this fight where Pitbull was able to do anything, and that's such an impressive feat to do. So the finish might not be there. There might not be, the immediate going to 100, but I think that's also what's impressive, because it shows control, shows technique, shows ability, composure. Those are things you can't teach. Those are things you have to learn and experience and gain over time, and she showed that.
Let's talk about someone else who made a big statement here tonight. The Flash, as he's calling himself now, Josh Carrick. I mean, what a performance. Like, everyone who sees who this guy trains with, who hears the stories about him, like, oh, wow, this guy sounds like the next big thing. Can he perform? And he goes and does that. I mean, he knocks him out, and he just went, wow. Like, he was like, that was insane. It was insane. I did the same thing. I was absolutely blown away. He just hit him with the left. The guy froze, and as he's falling, he lands another shot on the way down. So Josh Carrick is phenomenal. The hand speed off the charts. I mean, he basically fights like Tom Aspinall, doesn't he? Incredible hand speed and extremely explosive power. So another great performance for Carrick. He was quietly confident going into that one, but he was up against an undefeated guy, and you never know with your opponent like what they're going to bring to the table. But it was a great win for Carrick, and yeah, another guy who a year from now, who knows where he's going to be if he keeps winning like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a fast track. Heavyweights are a rare commodity in combat sports, period. I don't care which combat sport you're in, they're extraordinarily rare. Somebody with that kind of charisma, somebody with that kind of attitude who can take over a stage and captivate an audience on the mic just as much as they can in the cage. Although tonight he made it very difficult to compete with what he did inside of the cage, because that was spectacular. And yeah, if we were going to look at performance of the night, I think I'm going to put this one more towards a KO of the night, because we made the comparison earlier with like an Igor Vovchanchian Pride, just insane knockout. He's falling over unconscious and getting landed on. You rarely see things like that, and that's what makes it so spectacular. My KO of the night, personally, you agree?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'd say KO of the night, definitely. Yeah, contender for knockout of the night though, Billy Adams as well though. Oh my God, that left hook was so clean. It just went through his opponent's chin. Maybe that's the best setup for the knockout of the night. Jab, 2 to the body and then 3 up top. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, Billy must have just hit that on the pads like a billion times. He looked phenomenal. Billy is someone we haven't seen a lot of. He's only had 2 pro fights, 3 now and 3-0. 8 fights in a row though, if you go back to his amateur, 8 wins in a row. I really have big hopes for Billy. He looks so confident and calm in there. I love when you got a name like Billy the Kid and then you actually are in there gunfighting people, like, and just slugging it out, so it fits.
Billy the Kid personified in that regard, right? So yeah, incredible performance. It is crazy to not get that KO of the night. You know, it is crazy because it was so good, and like you said, that combination, it reminds me the end of Hot Rod when he finally beats up his dad. That is a 2008 reference, people. Yeah, as long if you know it, it's a great reference because it's the end of film. Phenomenal way to finish it, and the reaction must have been the same, which is what I was getting at. You gotta be kidding me, because it was a you gotta be kidding me type kind of finish. He could have never saw what came his way. That kind of finish is just absolutely stellar. Incredible.
Let's also talk about the guy who opened up the main card tonight, Jack McLeod, the Ripper. I mean, a new name tonight, ripping people's knees apart, man. I mean, he said he heard pops and cracks. It was a beautiful finish. Took the heel hook from one side to the other side to get better leverage on it. You know, when we were talking about him during fight week, a bunch of people who I can't even remember who mentioned it, but they were all saying you should roll with Jack. He's good. You should roll with Jack McLeod, because like, he's got submissions. He's more of a Thai guy. Everyone's like, no, you got to roll with Jack. Shows it again tonight. I don't want to roll with you, Jack. I don't want to get heel hook, bro. You know what I mean? I'll tap immediately, right? But it was just a demonstration of his ground game tonight. He was quite aggressive in trying to secure the takedown from the start, but that's because he's got so much confidence in that ground game. 7 submission wins on his record. Insane.
Yeah, he showed great looks on the feet as well. You know, I mean, immediately on the stand-up, had some flurries, some big hooks, ended the round that way in the first round. And then he found it while his opponent was supposed to be in charge, while his opponent, Everton Oliveira, was taking him down, and he used it against him.
Everton standing up backstage, by the way, so he was walking around, so I think his knee's okay, yeah.
Well, that's really good to hear, and fantastic performance. That was a pro debut. This is something you always see on an FCC card, is outstanding, highly anticipated pro debuts, and man, you got to think people got their eye on him with the way he's getting things done inside that cage.
All right, last fight we should talk about as well, the Featherweight Amateur Championship that was on the line tonight. It was a big rematch. It's been hyped up for about 6 months this now, you know, and we haven't seen the guy holding the belt, Jimmy Durkin, for a little bit, you know. He came in, he came out, only got 4 fights there as an amateur, whereas, you know, we saw Mickey Leitner literally travel everywhere, like, I want this fight, I'm not going to get it, I'm going to go here, I'm going to win a belt here, I'm coming back, can I have this fight, I'll take another fight. He really wanted this rematch, and you know, he had the game plan. He was able to execute certain stages of it, but we saw in the first round the emotion, you know, from Durkin. Like, he was clearly, I think, a bit upset that there had been so much talk, so much build-up, and he was like, I won the last fight. Don't you forget that, mate, you know? And when he got his chance, man, he really let it go. And again, he was loading the uppercut, but it was the left hook he was finishing with. That was the killer shot, and he put him out with it.
The last event was the Lewis Lever fight, where Mickey got a shot at the title, the interim title, while Durkin was injured. And those quotes that you heard on the pre-fight package and the video trailers and things like that, those were actually from the Lewis Lever fight. So Durkin had been hearing this for quite some time, and it was really the story of the fight is the controversy of what happened the first time, and it ended up mirroring the first fight in so many different ways. Mickey seemed to be in control early on in this fight as he was in the first fight, and instead of a controversial stoppage, what you got was an emphatic finish. Huge shots. We always knew Durkin had power, but he hasn't had that many opportunities because he's so controlling on the ground and so able to find a finish that way rather than on the feet. This time he got it. This time he got that opportunity, and you could see he was taunting him inside the cage. It was like, it was rallying him up. You were talking to his corner. They were upset that he wasn't following the game plan that they had set aside.
Stood up, and one of the officials was like, you got to sit down, like, because he was just like mad as hell, man, like, you know. And if we speak to his dad afterwards, he had plenty of criticisms for him on that performance as well, even though he pulled out the win. But, you know, that's how he gets better as a fighter, so.
You love to see how it all shook out. You know, it was such a great story that you couldn't write. The way it worked out and the way it finished. The king is here. 5-0, perfect to go pro. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Well, with that being said, FCC 43 here from the Liverpool Olympia. Outstanding showing from top to bottom. New champion crown, Marlon Jones. Unbelievable prospects. Connor Walsh continues the Casey fight-based takeover. You move down to Jordan Rutherford doing exactly what the People's main event was billed as. They absolutely took over. Josh Carrick, I mean, what are we talking about? So we've already said it all. Why am I repeating it? We're just thrilled. I can't stop talking about it. We're just going to wrap it up there. Appreciate you all for watching. And yeah, stay tuned for November. We'll be back for FCC 44.